Hey guys, thought I'd jump on here to have a quick chat about my self growth journey this year with everything that I've been learning about and practicing and really working with this year. So throughout my life, I have struggled with my emotions quite a bit throughout lots of different life lessons and experiences. I have grown a lot as a person and learned a lot of lessons. But my major lesson that I had to learn, and I think that it's a big part of why I started this journey, was to learn how to navigate my emotions because I was quite and still am quite an emotional person. And I needed to learn how to work out how to change the thoughts that I had to stop negatively impacting my emotions. And that is something that I've really learned a lot about through my NLP practitioner and teacher course, and a lot through my Reiki journey. I have done a lot of inner reflecting and a lot of healing of old wounds and also seeing things in a different light. And I thought that I'd jump on here and I'd talk a bit about how to navigate your emotions by controlling your thoughts, because our thoughts are actually what creates our emotion. And I know that that's really hard sometimes to understand at the start, because when an emotion is so strong, to be able to sit back and just say, oh, this is just my thoughts that's creating this emotion, it can be really difficult. I found it really, really difficult at the beginning. And I was just like, oh, this is crazy talk, like I'm feeling so sad, for someone to just tell me, oh, change your thought pattern and it'll all be better, just seemed crazy to me. But going through this journey, I've really learnt a lot, and I have figured that not always does it work, but 99.9% of the time for me, and anyway, and for a lot of the women that I have worked with, it helps, like drastically really helps. So I thought that I'd talk a little bit about that today for anyone that wants to listen. And I wanted to talk about the beliefs that we have with emotions. And one of the most common beliefs is that you should always trust your emotion, trust your gut, trust the way that you're feeling towards a certain situation, because um, you should just trust your emotions. And then the second most common belief that I hear is that you shouldn't trust your emotions because they're irrational. Now, let me just tell you what I've learned throughout my journey is that neither of them are true. Neither of them are true to me anyway, and to a lot of the other women that I work with, because it's genuinely just our thoughts that create our emotions. So to be able to navigate where our thoughts lead us into what sort of emotional state they lead us is a really great feeling. So for to start off this, I want to talk about our unconscious beliefs and thoughts, and our conscious beliefs and thoughts. Our conscious beliefs and thoughts are our thoughts about our everyday thoughts. Like, I need to do the shopping. I need to change the sheets on the bed. I need to vacuum the house. And our unconscious thoughts are thoughts that we have told ourselves so many times, and they're generally about ourselves, and they're also generally negative thoughts so many times throughout our lives that they're no longer a thought, they're just a belief that's embedded within our mind, body, and spirit. And to be able to change those unconscious thoughts, you've got to really dive in deep. It can be really quite difficult at times. A lot of healings come into play there. And I always say to the women that I'm working with that what I've found is healing's like an onion. So there's always a new layer. You think, you've healed from something. You'll go and have a healing. You'll talk about things so many times. You'll talk about that certain situation. so many times that you feel like, now I'm able to deal with it because I accept it. And then something will trigger you, and that will bring out a new layer of the onion. And each time you have to heal it until you get to the core. And generally, in the core is where our unconscious beliefs lie. And we need to really work hard to be able to change those unconscious beliefs, because have you ever had a day where, I'm sure most of us have, where you just wake up in the morning and you feel really crappy, you feel really down, you feel really low, anxiety is peaking, and you have no idea why. You think, I'm not I didn't think I was stressed, I don't know what's going on inside of me to make me feel like this. That's generally because unconscious thoughts are coming into play. And you aren't aware of it because it's an unconscious thought. It's a thought that you have told yourself so many times throughout your life that it's no longer a thought, it's a belief. So if you could think now to sort of explain to you and give you an example about how our thoughts create our emotions, I want you to think about something that you don't have, but something that you really want, but you don't have. Okay. Think about something that you really, really want, but you don't have. Now, a lot of people sit there and they end up feeling really unhappy and negative emotions towards the fact that they don't have that thing. Okay. But I can tell you right now that it's not the fact that you don't have that thing. The thing is that it's the thought of not having that thing that is negatively impacting your emotions. So now I want you to think about how you would feel if you didn't need that thing, if you didn't want that thing, if you were completely free of wanting that thing. How would you feel? Because at the end of the day, you've got to ask yourself, have you been happy before without having that thing? Because without having that thing, if you have been happy before, then that is proof and evidence in itself that you are capable of being happy without having that thing. You can be happy without having that thing. It's the thought of not having it that creates the negative emotions. So, really, all in all, it's just really talking about how our thoughts come into play for our emotions, and how we can change the way that we feel and think about things, so then that can in turn help us with our emotions. So, however, this isn't always the case. With some people. Some people can be quite empathic and they can walk into a room and they can feel the energy of the room, and that negatively impacts them and their feelings and stuff like that. But that's generally speaking. It's not like that for everyone, and it's not like that for majority of the time. So what this emotion is that, sorry, my phone started ringing, so I had to go to that. However, I'll continue. Most of the time, this isn't, it's not the outside world that's creating these emotions for us. It is the filter that these thoughts go through in our mind, known as interpretation or our perspective. And that it filters through that, and then that's what causes the emotional reaction to the situation. So I'll go through ways that we can really try to help benefit ourselves, and ways that I found really, really helpful to myself and to a lot of the women that I work with. So in psychology, it's referred to as cognitive behavioral therapy, so CBT. It's being able to interpret unhealthy thoughts, and thought patterns with positive self-talk. So noticing that there is a feeling that's arising or an emotion that's arising, being able to identify that thought, changing the thought, and then in turn that changes our emotions. So I'm going to go over that once more. So it's recognizing the emotion. So an emotion comes up, and it could be frustration, anger, sadness. Being able to identify the thought that's behind it, changing that thought pattern, and then in turn that will change our emotions. So changing our thinking in order to change our emotions is sort of the point of why I'm making this video. I'm trying to help people recognize why we have these emotions and how in turn to raise our vibration again, to get ourselves onto a higher level. So good ways to be able to do this is focusing on something else, something that's going to feel better to you. So being able to distract yourself from those thoughts that are creating the negative emotion. And if that is like, if you're unable to do that, because sometimes the situation's smack in our face, it's right there every day, all day, and it's really hard to sort of focus on something different, maybe trying to have a new perspective on the situation, being able to think of ways that will make you feel differently towards the situation. And therefore, we will end up feeling better. So being able to do that it's hard sometimes. It really, really takes a lot of self-love. And being able to step back and reflect on a situation and change your views on a situation is sometimes really hard. But knowing that it's our benefit, it's most beneficial to us, is a life changer. It's a game changer. It really is. So because when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. They really do. So I just wanted to really talk about this and sort of share it, because I know that it really, really helped me on my self-growth journey. And I'm really hoping that it will help somebody else. Talk to yourself as if you're talking to a girlfriend. You know how for our girlfriends we really try and lift them up. We try and help them look at things from a new perspective. We try and raise up their vibration. Talk to yourself and give yourself the same sort of love. Being able to do that is just so beneficial to ourselves. And yeah, it's a game changer. It really is. We're in charge of how we feel today. So why not choose happiness? That is a affirmation that I say to myself daily. I wake up in the morning and I really, I really try and change the way. So something could go wrong in the morning, whether it be that I stub my toe when I get out of bed, or I've spilt my coffee all over my work clothes, or something's happened that's setting me, like, going to run late and whatnot. Just having a new perspective on that, and then being able to turn around and say to myself, I'm in charge of how I feel today. And today I'm feeling grateful, and I'm feeling happy, and I'm feeling loved. Being able to say these certain things can be so beneficial to us. Get a chalk texter and write it on your mirror. So when you look at yourself in the morning, you can choose self-love, choose to nurture yourself, choose to look at things in a different light, and choose to sometimes see those thoughts pop up. And whether it be anger or sadness, notice that it's there. You can even say, oh, I'm feeling anger. Okay, sit with it for a second and then release it. It really is a game changer if you want to practice it, but you've really got to put in the hard work to be able to practice it for it to be able to work for you. You can't just expect that you can just click your fingers and that it's going to change. You really have to put in the hard work. But trust me when I say it has made me such a different person. I feel so grateful to just be alive, grateful to have just electricity, to have my water, to have a healthy family and great friends surrounding me. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling on because now my video goes for 15 minutes. But I just really wanted to jump on here and speak to you guys about that because I think that it's something that we should all practice. So, love and light, guys.